I was an infantry squad leader in Vietnam. It was monsoon and our original mission was put on hold. But no sitting around, so a new mission was given. We received orders to go out to an old abandoned fire base we once used to set up camp from which to run patrols. The fire base was way out in the Shea Valley, steep jungle-covered mountains, the location of what later became known as Hamburger Hill. It was to be a company-sized operation, and my platoon had point. We loaded onto 5 choppers and took off into mildly bad weather. There were around 25 of us, give or take. As we came into land at the fire base, we began taking small arms fire. 4 of the 5 choppers were hit. In our absence, the enemy had moved in. We surprised each other. Had I been in charge, I would have retreated, called in artillery and airstrikes, and then come back later to see what was left. But no. Jump, and so we did, right into the middle of what later discovered was a force that greatly outnumbered us. A close-up firefight ensued. We lost 1, they lost about 5, and then they ran off down the trail into the jungle. The word came over the radio that weather was too bad for any more choppers to fly, and we were out there all by ourselves until probably the next day. Night came, along with a pucker factor previously unknown. We'd taken the base, but we were few, and in the remote triple canopy mountainous jungle, it was pitch dark. As a squad leader, I did what I needed to do, trying to project confidence and calm although I was scared shitless. Foxholes were dug, claymores and trip flares were out, fields of fire were established, and situational awareness was off the charts. Often, the best time for a counterattack is immediately after a previous battle. They knew where we were, and we could have been relieved and let down our guard. And it was dark. We had star cluster flares but needed to conserve them just in case. I remember waiting in my foxhole, which I wished I had made deeper. Just knowing someone with a knife in their teeth was sneaking up to slit my throat. We kept noise suppression so we could hear anyone approaching. Visibility was virtually 0. Then came the creepy part. In an attempt to make it better for us and give some visibility, the artillery fired flare rounds over our position. The flares opened about 200 feet above the ground. They were bright, and what was once a black world now became black and white world. Because of the conditions, the flares suspended under small parachutes would swing back and forth. As I looked from my foxhole, the effect was that the whole ground was alive with moving shadows, which were those of the enemy. It was one of the most creepy, surreal things I have ever experienced. The choice was no good. Pitch blackness or black and white moving shadows on the ground, alive. This is a short version of a story my dad told. It isn't spooky, but it is strange. He was generally a thoughtful person and not prone to providing war stories or talk about the war at all. That's Second World War. But anyway, he was an amphibious engineer aboard a troop transport as part of the invasion of the Philippines in October 1944. As an engineer, he would have been amongst the first to go ashore at Leyte. But IIRC, sometimes early in the morning of October the 20th, he was on deck with his unit when someone, CRS, who came along calling for Staff Sergeant Adams. He told my dad to come with him and took him over to a nearby ship. But when he got there, nobody knew anything about it. Some officer finally told him to go sit over there until we got this straightened out. He did that and sat there, totally ignored most of the day until another officer came along and asked what the hell he was doing here. Not having a good answer, he was sent ashore late in the afternoon and told to go find his unit. The punchline of the story should be that his unit had suffered extraordinary casualties in the landing, so being absent saved his life. But they didn't. Given the general confusion, apparently nobody even worried about where the hell he had been either. At least that's the story, the best I remember it.